Hey, can you guys hear me? We are streaming. Awesome. You can hear me? Alright, awesome. Is that going to do anything for us? I don't know. Can you guys see me? Alright, Karen. Karen, you can hear me. But can you see me? Hey! Figured it out. Awesome. Well, how is everybody doing? We're going to go ahead and get started then. This is our live stream. So it is kind of our first time doing this. So hopefully it gets better, or hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, we'll hope for the best here. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and play a quick little video. So we had a fun little game on Sunday where we went ahead and had a little game where we shocked some people. And so we're going to play a video and kind of show you what that was like. So let's go ahead and do that. See if we can get this on. Yeah. Alright, well, the video should be coming up soon, I hope. But other than that, how is everybody doing? Let's see. Somebody tell me something about their day. Okay, this video is not wanting to connect, so I guess we're not going to be watching the video today. Unless I can get it to work. Let's do it then. Yeah. Get that going. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. We first time doing the live stream. And of course, off to a great start. Off to a wonderful start with getting nothing done. Now, let's go ahead and get this switched over. If possible. Okay, well, I am officially giving up on our video. Next week, we'll be able to play the video. We'll figure it out next week. So anyways, this time we will go ahead and just jump into the message. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for coming for our live stream. If you're watching at a later time, thank you for watching. And we just are kind of in a series right now called 2021, and we're talking about how do we live like champions, how do we live victoriously. And last year we talked about the battle between good and evil and kind of God, and kind of how we humans fell away from God, and then how God's big redemption plan through Jesus to bring us back together. And today we're going to talk about what it looks like to talk like a champion. And so to talk like a champion, how many of you guys have ever trash talked? I know for me personally, I've done a lot of trash talking. When I was a kid, I would trash talk a lot. And then even when I was in college, I was a bench player for soccer. So I sat on the bench on my college soccer team, and I would trash talk in practice all the time to everyone else on my team because it was funny, and I just felt like I could kind of talk my game up more than my game actually was. And a lot of times that's all that trash talking is. When we're talking down to people, we're trying to build ourselves up. And that isn't a champion's mentality. That's not how champions live. If you think about Michael Jordan, if you think about whoever your favorite sports champions are, like, they didn't get that way by talking others down. Now, some of them trash talk, and that's kind of a mental attitude they have, but they're not really, that's not the right attitude for that. And so I want to look at a champion in the Bible and a story of this guy called Joseph from the Old Testament and see kind of some things we can draw from him. And so Joseph is a guy you can find in Genesis 20 or Genesis 50. He's right in that range of your Bible, and he was a guy who did a lot of good stuff, but also at the beginning of his life seemed to be a little bit of a trash talker. And so if we look at what got him in trouble, was he was his father's favorite son, and he ended up telling his brothers that he was going to rule them, that he was going to be in charge of them, that even his parents would bow down to him. And his brothers got so fed up with him that they threw him in a pit. And so they throw him in this pit, and he gets sold into slavery, and all these bad things come to Joseph. And then finally, when things start picking up, start looking good, like he gets a good job, his slave master is nice to him, and he is almost like a free man, he gets ended up thrown in prison for another thing that wasn't really his fault. And so that's bad for him also. And so that brings us all the way back to being in prison, and then he gets out of prison, and then what he does is pretty awesome. What he's able to do is come before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh has been told that Joseph can interpret dreams. And so Pharaoh asks Joseph, hey, can you interpret dreams? And this is our first principle here. Joseph says, no, I cannot, but God can. And so he gives credit where credit is due. He doesn't say, oh, yes, I can interpret dreams, because really the power to interpret dreams doesn't come from him, but it comes from God. And so he's able to say, no, I can't, but God can. And how often in our lives do we not give credit to God when credit is due to God or to others, right? Like, we think that we're so powerful or that we're so good that we're able to do these things. And the truth is that really the only reason any of this happens is because God gave us the life that we have, right? Our parents provide the roofs for us. Like, all of our stuff can point to somebody else. And Joseph understood this. And so he gave credit where credit was due. And that's the first characteristic of a champion. And then following this, Joseph ends up interpreting Pharaoh's dream, and Pharaoh puts Joseph as second in charge in all of Egypt. So he went from being a slave to being in prison to now second in command in all of Egypt. He's like the vice president of the best nation in the world at that time. That's pretty awesome, and that's part of his attitude. And then one day, there's a famine in the land, everybody's hungry, and his brothers come to Egypt, and he's able to see them, and he knows, those are my brothers, and they don't recognize him. And so he has the ability to pay them back, to finally get revenge on them for what they've done. And instead of getting revenge, like I probably would, or like a lot of us would, he pulls them aside and he blesses them, and he ends up saying, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. He says, even though it was bad, even though there was so much going on, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. So I'm not going to hold it against you. So he learned to forgive. And that's the second attribute of champions, is that they learn to forgive. Right? They don't just sit around and are grumpy and upset about everyone. They learn to forgive. So they give credit where credit is due, and they learn to forgive. And through that, they're able to have this humble posture, right? They're able to say, like, this is only because I've been so blessed to do this. And they're able to be a blessing to others, right? We all know that friend that we don't want to hang out with because they're constantly trying to put us down, or they're constantly being mean to us, right? We don't want to deal with that. But we also have those friends or those people in our lives that are always uplifting, that we want to be around no matter what, that are super awesome. And we think, hey, I could really be around that person. And that's the kind of person that I strive to be in my life, even though a lot of times I fall short. And the reason those people are champions of life in general, even though they might not have any gold medals, even though they might not have any rings on their finger from winning championships, they're champions in life because they're able to bring life to others. And that's what champions do. Right? If you think about your favorite basketball players, they bring life to you when you watch their sports, right? They encourage you, they motivate you. And so we all have the potential to be champions like that. We all have the potential to bring life to others. And it's just up to us on how we use our words. I want to look in the book of James, actually, kind of talking about controlling our tongues and controlling our words. And I want to see if there's a way where maybe the Bible, even though it's an ancient book, even though it's so old, still relates to us today and has something to say about it. So this is in James 3, and it says, how great a forest is set ablaze by a small fire. Right? You think about a small ember, a small things, how great a fire can be set because of that. And so it says, how great a forest is set ablaze by a small fire, and the tongue is a fire. The tongue is placed among our members as a world of iniquity. It stains the whole body, sets on fire the cycle of nature, and is itself set on fire by hell. So it's saying the tongue is a fire, and it has the ability, it has that power to burn others down, to destroy life. Right? And if we're being honest, we act that way sometimes. Sometimes the words we say, sometimes the stuff we say is bad. Sometimes that's not a good thing. And so the way that we talk has the ability to either bring life or to bring death. One of the Proverbs says the power of life and death is in the tongue. And so how we talk is really important. And how champions talk is they bring others up. Right? They're able to have gracious hearts, and they're able to empower and encourage others. And so I want to challenge us this week to talk like champions. I want to challenge us to try and talk in ways that brings others up. And I'm going to make it real easy. This week, what are some ways that you can talk to your parents or your siblings in ways that encourages them or makes them feel better about themselves? Yeah, your parents. Instead of talking down, instead of talking bad to them, instead of just kind of brushing them off, what are some ways that you could encourage them and make them feel better about themselves? That's my challenge for you guys this week. Thank you guys for joining our first ever YouTube live video. I was trying to get a different video going. Let me see if this works. Yeah. No, wasn't able to get that going for some reason. But anyways, so yeah, thank you guys for coming, and